This is the Building Walls podcast, episode number 66, recorded January 11th, 2022. Does your Biden Saget low?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
This is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, this is Val, you switched on me. This is my wife, this is my sister. They switched on me.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Mr. President, can I ask you a quick question on Israel before you drive away?
No,
since
you
it's
can't.
So important?
Not unless you get in front of the car as I step on it. Okay, hang on.
A majority of Americans, and forgive me, I'm just the messenger, no longer consider you to be competent, focused, or effective in the job.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I'm gonna take my pants off and I'm gonna go to bed.
That sounds like something I don't want to know about.
You know what? Attack helicopter, you're gonna know about it.
Welcome to another episode of the Building Walls podcast. Got some great previews going on here. I like it. It's going to be a good show tonight.
Dude, I'm fired up to be here. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good time, and it's a good time to be alive, even though it's cold AF in Michigan, as well as I know it's cold in good old Connecticut.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
I should have stayed down south. Because you know what gets me? We were talking about this earlier. It's cold here, and then I start looking at the temperatures of cities like Charlotte and Charleston, and it's like 50 degrees and sunny. And it's 4 degrees and cold here. Isn't
that the greatest app on your iPhone is the weather app? And you're just like, where do I want to look? Oh, let's look at Maui. Oh, wow, look, it's 72 degrees and sunny. What a shocker.
Like it is all year round.
It's 72 every single day this week. That's amazing.
One of my favorite weather apps has to be the What the Forecast app, if you haven't seen that.
What the Forecast app.
What the Forecast. What the Forecast. I'll see if I can find
That's
one.
Great.
A current image. So here's one. This one would be 63 in Cupertino, and it says it's a great day for naps, followed by naps. Then there's another one that was for Prattville, and it was, well, fuck me sideways. The sun is out, still cold though, and it's 6 degrees there.
There's our F-bomb for the show. He took it from us.
Attack helicopter just stole our F-bomb for the show. How am I supposed to get mine in?
You can get yours in. I'll just censor it. I'll just censor it.
Oh my
you
God.
Have got to be fucking kidding me.
I gotta wait until next week now.
You're good.
Mad.
You're good. You can use it. I'll censor mine. I'll take mine out.
Helicopter comes in, guns blazing.
Not
for anybody else.
You know who wasn't guns a blazing? Is this Biden administration?
Dude, brutal.
Woo.
1 year.
Yeah. What's your grade here? What's your grade?
Happy anniversary. Happy Biden-versary.
Happy anniversary. Get out of here.
Dude, yeah, we should grade this.
Happy anniversary of the January 6th insurrection last week.
Insurrection. Dude, I cannot even handle when people call it an insurrection. I swear to God, it's like my litmus test to find out if you're an... See, I wanted to use the F-bomb right there, but I can't now. I want to know if they're an effing idiot. And that would be my litmus test. It's like, what was January 6th? Was that just a demonstration, a protest that went a little too far? Or was that an insurrection, an attempt, a coup at the freedom-loving Americans and the way of life in America on par with Pearl Harbor and 9/11? Like, shut up, dude.
I feel like they need to get
put those people in a box.
Tom Cruise in front of some of these leftist, radio host or news outlet host, where he's in a few good men. He's like, I want to hear you say it. I want the truth. He's like, it's a riot. It's a riot. It wasn't an insurrection. It was a protest. And
But
just hear him say the truth.
Isn't the colonel in that like kind of like the guy that like is the rest of us, even though he's guilty of calling a code red? It's like,
Yeah.
dude, like I love his line. Colonel Jessup, that's what it was. He was
Colonel
like,
Jessup, that's it.
Colonel Jessup. He's like, I prefer if you just said thank you and moved along your way. You question the very freedom that you have, the ability to question me. Come on. I agree. I don't know, Chad. Are we doing a letter scale for the grading, or are we going to do a point scale? Like, is he getting a 4.0, or is he, like a D plus?
A D plus. I'm surprised you gave him anything higher than an F.
Well, actually, I'm going to change my grade. I'm going for a D minus.
Ooh, you're going to give him the D.
You know what? I mean,
I feel like that would fall under some kind of like mental abuse, like physical abuse of an elder or something like that. I don't think you want to go there.
Physical abuse of an elder.
That's fair. That's fair.
Give him the D. I mean, a D minus is like one just like increment above failing.
Right, because he's still in the seat. He hasn't been
that's
booted out yet.
It's not a grade I like to give out. Let's put it that way, a D minus. But I can't. I'm struggling, and I'm genuinely curious. What is one thing that Biden has done that we could say is a positive thing that I would be happy about?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask some, he's letting people who were born males compete as females and crush other females in swimming events. He's stopped thousands of jobs, right? In the first week, tens of thousands of jobs. He stopped that to save a pipeline and sacred Indian burial land, which I know is really important to some people. But then it's so funny. We use this word all the time, the hypocrisy. This is so funny. These same people that want to be progressive and get away from the tradition get upset about the traditional Native American Indian land. So they don't care about anyone else. They just care about these traditional Native Americans and how they feel about their sacred land. But you don't want other people to believe in their religions, but it's okay when the Native Americans believe what they believe, which is okay. I'm not knocking what they believe. I'm just saying the hypocrisy and the contrast between the two.
Well, I mean, I've got a long list of challenging topics for Biden in his first year, whether it was the border crisis or the Afghanistan withdrawal or the fact that the economy is like just jacked up right now, or the fact that COVID is not under control, like
2
he
weeks
said
to
it was
flatten
going
the
to be.
curve.
And then, of course, you've got the January 6th thing where he just gave a speech. It was super divisive, not even close to being an opportunity to bring people together. He basically declared war on half the country. But you know what? We are fortunate. We do have the attack helicopter with us, and he balances us out. Financial Jesus. Seriously, Matt, you got something? I mean, your personal opinion is welcome on this show. I love you.
So again, I'm not going to say that I have been loving this administration. I think that would be a blatantly incorrect statement to make, that I'd be loving this administration. I don't. But one thing that I will say personally that I think he did that I was actually very happy to see was when, I don't know, I believe he was the one who did it. Which was starting to find.
Well, just post it on Facebook and they'll fact check.
Yeah, they'll fact check me. That's right. But what I think that they did, what I think that was done correctly, was starting to fine all of these cargo ships that were sitting in harbors rather than unloading, and starting to fine them $100 a day, I think, per container they had on the ship. And the reason I'm in favor of this is because a lot of what's been going on in the market, whether that be the semiconductor market or the supply of just general goods, has been, from what I can tell, artificially, the lack of supply has been artificially represented and been happening, and so they've been playing the system to bump the prices of their products because supply demand, we all know how this works. And so by fining them $100 a day per container, that makes it very expensive to not unload these containers.
So do you think of some of that and I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked into this much. I don't know if you have. Is some of that because these cargo ships couldn't get into ports like in California because of COVID? Like, wasn't there something with certain COVID requirements why they couldn't come into port? I mean, I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't have an answer
kind of a
for that
twofold
one, to
thing
be
here.
honest. And that could be it. If it's something COVID related in California, then yeah, shame on California for that one. But if it's not COVID related, which I don't think it is, I would have to do a little bit more digging on it, but I don't think that it's COVID related, especially if Biden is pushing it and saying we're going to fine you every single day these things sit out here. I severely doubt he would be directly contradicting California's COVID requirements. I just don't think he would, but again, I don't know. And so I think that that was probably one positive, if I had to pull a positive, out of what I could think of.
I mean, we'll take it.
I mean, that's
If we can find something.
One
if
positive.
we can find something, we'll take it.
Yeah.
It's like when you watch the Lions on Sunday and they finally get a first down. You're like, we'll take it. We're moving in the right direction.
Oh my God, you beat the Packers.
Yeah.
JV team. I mean, like,
Yeah,
whatever. We'll take
those
it.
are second
We'll
string. But yeah, it's okay. We'll take it.
We'll take that win.
You know what?
And we'll talk about the culture of Detroit and how it's changing.
Yeah, I would have to say that like there have not been a lot of positives though with this administration, even from someone who consider themselves more middle of the aisle. There's not been a lot of positives of with having Biden in office. I feel like, again, he's been divisive. That's a fact. He has failed in a lot of areas, and I feel like he didn't get enough hate for the mess ups that he's had.
Hate.
Well, because here's the thing. Let's say we go back to the Trump administration, and let's say that the Trump administration did what Biden did in Afghanistan. Every media outlet would be ripping him a new one for a long time. We're talking months. That would just be what would be happening.
Yeah, it would be an endless news cycle.
Yeah. Biden's news cycle for this, while I do appreciate that he did get well-deserved hate for it, his news cycle for it, I don't think lasted longer than maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month. I'll be generous and say a month. I'll say a month. But yeah, I feel like there was definitely it shows the favoritism, for sure.
Sure. Can you cue up that Peter Ducey video there? And then let's just take a moment. Good old Bob Saget. Passed away. Guy was a legend.
Bob Saget. We love Bob Saget. He had a full house. Everybody knows his house was full. Not going to be an empty house. If it was an empty house, it would be a Biden house because Biden's bare shelves,
Yeah, I wonder why there's all this stuff out there. Good old Bob Saget. Full house, Fuller House. Well, rest in peace, Mr. Saget.
Yeah, you got Betty White, then Bob Saget.
Right? Are we gonna start seeing all those memes now? Like, oh my God, 2022 is such a bad year. Everyone's dying.
The only person we have left to kill off is the Queen. That's it. That's the only
Queen of England.
Yeah.
And we've met the Queen of England. She's not that great of a person. I just say, she's a little bit old, and she's it's time for her to go. I think that everybody knows that. Nobody likes queens anyway.
That is great. So let's start rolling here. Let's get this Peter Ducey video. So Peter Ducey, he is a reporter for, is it for Fox?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
The White House correspondent for Fox.
There you go. The professional term. This dude does a great job of going after Peppermint Patty. I love some of the stuff he says, and she can never answer a question of his directly because if she does, she's incriminating the whole administration.
That's right. She knows that she's wrong.
So let's see this little clip here. It's fantastic.
The tests you're talking about, though, require people to go somewhere and either make an appointment or wait in line. The CDC's guidance is if you think you have COVID, you're supposed to stay home. You guys said you were going to mail free tests to people that need them. The president's there on television talking about a winter of severe illness and death. While he's saying that publicly, why weren't you guys doing more to prepare for the winter?
Well, Peter, everyone decides where they're going to go get a test, and we make a range of options available. You can also purchase tests online. Later today, we'll have more details on how 150 million Americans who have health insurance can get reimbursed for tests. So we'll have more details on that later. The 500 million tests I noted, and I give you a little bit of an update on the timeline. We'll have more on the website later this week. So our steps and our process from the beginning has been expanding access to free tests to make it easy and more accessible for Americans, and we're going to continue to build on what we've done today.
Is that because of Obamacare? Everybody has to have health care insurance now, otherwise we're going to fine you. And because you have health care insurance now, we're going to run everything through health care. You'll get reimbursed. It'll be amazing. Oh my God, that's a terrible idea. It's a terrible
my God.
idea.
I love how she gets so angry with him. Why are you so angry? Calm down. I know you're a ginger and you're soulless, but calm the hell down.
So
Please.
The second part of this too, which is funny, is Peter Ducey goes into how he had COVID and how he called every place in the area to get tested. And he's like, so you're supposed to mail these to people at their home. Yet I would have had to driven over 30 minutes. And then I would have had to go out in public, even though you want me to stay at home in order to get a COVID test.
It's unbelievable.
He's like, so what is the point of what you're doing? Are you going to mail them out or not? And Peppermint Patty is just lost. She's lost for words.
And I love how she shifted it to like, oh, now we're going to see a surge in the springtime. And he's like, why? You said this was going to be a winter of death. Why aren't you getting this stuff together?
Yeah.
Like, why, if you really believe that, why is this administration falling flat on providing what's needed to be provided? It's crazy.
I mean, they come out and say things like after a year now that the federal government has no solution, right? Federal government has no solution. They say it should be left up to the states. That wasn't what you were saying a year ago. Yeah. If I was elected, we're going to smash COVID. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. What do you mean? 2 years to flatten the curve?
We're coming up on
and
2 years.
Now you don't have a solution? Like, this administration is so full of crap, and it's good the media is on their side, right? Because even when the media wasn't on Trump's side, it was like, how do you stop this guy? Because he goes out there and he just preaches the truth. I know how you stop him, right? You ban him on Twitter, ban him on Facebook, ban him on any social media you can, because you don't want the truth to get out there. Do you have that other video queued up?
I do.
So you don't want the truth to get out here, because then you have lunatics like this self-proclaimed Karen. This lady, is she the nutcracker? I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Dude, what is this about?
Check this out.
One more, bring anything down, super spreaders. I bet you voted for Trump, didn't you? Woo! Yeah, they don't wear masks. We don't cover those in. Woo! Let's bring this on. Let's go kill some children. Woo!
What in the God's name is my name's
She
Karen?
says, let's kill some children. Oh, keep on going. I don't think it's done. Is it? Yeah.
No, it's not. I was just pausing it while you were talking.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thank you.
Oh, it's rude to rape, isn't it? It was rude to rape me when I was 16. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, I was 17. I forget. Because I'm mentally ill. Okay, let's start it. I'm looking for stuff in his beard. Do you hear those voices? Zelda, Joe, Ted, or Billy? I did.
What is going on?
These people wear masks. Isn't that rude? I mean, all we ask is them to wear masks.
I just looked over the fucking dances, and I'm just starting laughing. Yeah,
I'm a cheerleader! Woo!
Dude, all I'm saying is I want whatever she's smoking. It's got to be good.
I think she's triple vax. She's had shots.
That's all I heard. Let's get those kids something. Get their hungry. I hope they can breathe. Wouldn't want to bring anything down, super spreaders. I bet you voted for Trump, didn't ya? Woo! Trumpers! Woo!
All right, so
we didn't cover noses.
we cut that. We can cut that now. There we go.
Wow.
So the stuff she says. Imagine, I feel sorry for her. Imagine having to be her and live her life and being so oblivious to the truth. She says, let's kill children. What?
Or
this virus is even killing children.
Cares what she says.
Yeah.
I mean, how pretentious that I'm going to make a video of me being an obnoxious idiot in a store as if anybody cares about her opinion.
It's like you said last week. Why is she going around trying to be a superhero?
Yeah.
What is it? And then she talks about being a super spreader because you're not wearing a mask. The science has just come out that the mask that she was wearing doesn't even stop COVID from spreading.
I know.
Like,
woo! You're an idiot. Woo!
Imagine being that stupid. And then she makes the comment that she's mentally ill. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And then she's harassing other people who are there. Like, would you just learn and actually educate yourself about how this thing works and trust the science? It's wild. I mean, I was approached in public the other day. Someone came up to me and goes, why aren't you wearing a mask? I looked at him. I go, because I don't have to. And then I just walked away.
Dude, I
Like,
would love
what the?
somebody to approach me. I would love it. I mean, honestly, I think I would just look at them and be like, do I know you? Have we ever spoken before? And who the fuck do you think you are to talk to me like that?
There it is.
There's my F-bomb. Sorry, that one came out clean too. That
Dude, that
literally
was
came out because this is
that
one of those
smooth.
topics like
That was smooth.
you know what the problem we have is? Here's the problem with social media and videos like that is the fact that this woman who's crazy gets a platform and people can see just how nuts she is. And like in society prior to the internet, no one would ever hear from that woman because she's nuts. No one would listen to her. No one would care what she has to say.
No one.
Because you had to earn it back in the day. You actually had to have good thoughts and you had to like get a following and get leadership. And that's the problem today is now you can just do a TikTok video or, an Instagram video or a Facebook Live or whatever. And all these people it's just, it's insane.
Imagine being
it's
like
frustrating.
a Patrick Henry, right? And you gotta like what you're saying has to like you said, Chris, it has to be good stuff. You got to be preaching the truth in order to rally 13 colonies to defect from the country that they're ran
from
by.
a superpower.
Yeah, even though they know that a lot of people they know and maybe even them are gonna die because of that choice. But you had to be preaching the truth. And then because of that, we live in a country where she can be stupid like that on the internet. Imagine that. Imagine we fought a war about that. Imagine that.
Dude, it gives me such a headache. I'm so sorry. I keep putting my face down, my hand on my head. I feel like this is every week that I'm like, just assume the position. This is me.
Turn and cough.
I could be like, this is me as a, loving American. This is me as a Michigan fan. Oh my God, what just happened?
Great. Dude, the meme of that kid with his hands on his face.
So great.
It's fantastic.
Assume the position.
Assume the position.
But for real, dude, I don't know. I feel like we're queued up right now. We just need a rant.
Let's do it.
I think you need to just take this and just let it rip, dude.
You know what, Chris? Mandates are not laws. So I found I had to get to it. All the buzz and the craze from conservative media outlets talking about Dr. Robert Malone and the Joe Rogan Experience. So to keep it simple, I was watching this. It's over 3 hours long. I've watched about a third of it. Dr. Robert Malone is kind of coined as one of the people who invented the mRNA vaccines, which is the basis for the majority of the COVID vaccines. So if you want to talk to the, epitome of authority on a topic, right? It's this guy when it's related to the basis of a vaccine that he invented, that he helped create. And he even talks about in there how, people get, what is the word? Like some aspirations, right? And as he's going to get his COVID vaccine, he's like, I was excited because this is my life's work pretty much. I'm paraphrasing what he says. And then he talks about how he had COVID prior. And I'm just going to hit on some things that he said. He talks about how he had COVID, then he got the vaccine because he created this thing. He was excited to get it. And he's an older gentleman. He's in his mid-60s, I believe. And he started to develop hypertension. At one point, his systolic blood pressure was 230, which is wild. That's blood pumping through your veins and arteries. He's like, I should have been dead. So this guy who is the creator of this is looking into it. And even Joe Rogan had a ton of facts and figures on some of this stuff. So I just want to share some of that. People who have natural immunity, so who have had COVID before, have developed natural antibodies, are 6 to 13 times more effective at preventing hospitalizations if they contract COVID again. 6 to 13 times more effective than if they just had the vaccine. And 20-fold more effective than preventing disease and long-term effects versus just having the vaccine. Not saying the vaccine doesn't work to the way that it's intended, but it's the fact that they squash this natural immunity. And then he goes on to talk about the fact that you are 2 to 4 times more likely to have adverse effects or suffer side effects, severe side effects from the vaccine if you previously had COVID. So think about that for a second. The government that preaches that they want you to be safe, that they want you to be healthy, is pushing a vaccine on you. And in the words from someone who helped create this technology, if you want to call it that, said, I should have died because I got the vaccine after having COVID because of the adverse side effects. That's crazy. Now, he didn't die. He was there having that interview. So, take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. But, they get into talking about how Omicron's spreads way more than like the Delta variant and how the masks, the typical cloth masks, don't do anything. Yet people can still wear those masks, right? And now they're mandating that people wear masks even though they know it doesn't work. Even the left-wing media has talked about how Omicron spreads more quickly and is also less dangerous. Like, I'm not talking about anything crazy scientific here. I'm literally just relating the facts that they relate to us. So by everything that, he mentions, and I mean, that was a speck. That's like a speck in the universe to what he talks about, even in the first hour. But it's obvious that herd immunity is possible by that, or that it at least helps, right? But then I was also talking with some people who are older and talk about a flu vaccine. They're like, yeah, every year they tell me I have to get the flu vaccine again because there's a different strain. So the one from last year doesn't work anymore. I'm like, oh, that's Imagine that. And then I've been this is the what should I call this? This is like the top 10, so to speak. I've been saving pictures to my phone of tweets from people from like a year ago, or even this one's from July 20th. DeSantis downplays rising COVID numbers. That'll work, says no one. 5 months later, as we recognize that COVID is not a deadly or even severe disease for the vast majority of responsible Americans, we can stop agonizing over cases and focus on those who are hospitalized or at risk of dying.
Oh my God.
Jennifer Pro-voting Rubin. She's a blogger. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy from the left. Then you have your girl here, Dayton. September 9th, 21. AOC. I know Republicans' idea of disaster relief is flying to Cancun.
I'd love to date her.
Well, yeah. While the power's still out, but unlike that approach, I actually give a damn. And then 3 months later, guess what? AOC spotted in Miami, in Florida, Miami Beach, as reports of record COVID cases. So while COVID's running rampant because it's so important to her, she's vacationing in Miami. Imagine that. And those aren't the only ones. Let's see here. I saved the same picture twice because it was so good, from AOC being spotted in Miami. Right. And then she goes on the stupid rant about how Republicans aren't just jealous because they want to date her. And what was the other thing? Like sucking on her boyfriend's toes, something stupid. So then here's another one from Young Daddy. This is, ironically enough, this is from December 28th of 21. If you think closing the southern border is truly part of a serious COVID strategy, then you need to stop watching Fox and stop consuming all that anti-immigrant propaganda and go get vaccinated. Lo and behold, 10 days later, Novak Djokovic actually does have a right to enter a country that he's not a citizen of. Nothing requires Australia to let him in. Like, did these people think about and listen to what they say? Then you got this guy, Andrew Goss, from September 29th of 2020. I will never take a Trump vaccine. Ever, ever, ever. January 4th, 2022. If you're in the military and you refuse the vaccine, they should kick your ass out. This is the same vaccine. This is the vaccine that Trump pushed for with Operation Warp Speed.
Warp Speed. Yep.
Are you dumb? These people are so stupid. They don't even know how stupid they are. And then you got this guy. So, and this will be the last one. This is my top 5 of the week, I guess. Column: Trump is plotting a vaccine debacle for November, and people will die. Fast forward, January 10th, yesterday. Same guy says, mocking anti-vaxxers' deaths is ghoulish. Yes, but necessary. Yeah. So one part, you're trying to say that someone else is going to wish death, and then you're wishing death upon people. Fantastic. I just don't get how we as a nation, how people get into these holes or tunnels where they don't even know their own truth. But I do get it, because I was talking with a friend the other day, and I was saying how I always mess around with my wife. If she's watching a show or listening to a song or something, I'll purposely forget the name of the band, just playing jokes on her. But then it comes to a point where I purposely forget it so much that I truly forget it. I literally think the band's a different name, and I can't remember what their actual band name is. And dude, that's exactly what happens. That's psychology 101. They know that if they ram this crap down your throats enough, they put it in front of your face enough, if you read the propaganda enough, you will believe it. That's what they do.
Mm.
So I know I went on a little long there. But
that's a good topic to rant on, man. I mean, I think anyone can rant on that for a while. And I did listen to that podcast because I had a friend of our show, gentleman Brian Deal, the real deal. He
The
sent
other
me
real deal.
Yeah, he sent it to me. He texted. He said, "Hey, I think you might like this," and I said, started listening to it, and I'm also about a third of the way through. But the guy's credentials are through the roof. I mean, that's the most disarming part of this narrative for people who are opposed to it. Is like, you might disagree with what he has to say, but man, it's really tough pill to swallow when the guy is like on the front edge of that, like tech, the breakthroughs that they've had with vaccines and the things that they do with vaccines, and then you're going to silence him. You're going to you're kicking him off the platform. I mean, come on. Like, every person, regardless of whether or not you agree with it or not, needs to take a step back and look at that and go, if that guy is not qualified to have an opinion that is put out into the public space, and who is? Is it AOC, the bartender? Yikes. I mean, what are we doing? When you silence the really smart people of the world?
Sounds a lot like Nazi Germany.
Sounds like a lot like every time there's been a power play throughout the history of the world. Silence the opposition. Eliminate logic. Focus on emotion.
Give me liberty or give me death, right? That's what Patrick Henry said. Isn't that who it was? I forget. We talked about it a few weeks ago on the show. But let's get into something a little better here. A little wholesome story. This is amazing.
We need to lighten it up, dude, because I'm starting to get depressed just thinking about how dumb people are.
Yeah, we're going to get back into it.
Trust me, the population has no lack of things to disappoint you with.
I know. It's so sad.
Wholesome story. This nurse has a patient in the hospital who talks about, he starts like, my dog's going to the pound. My dog's going to the pound. He gets a phone call or something. So this nurse goes and gets his dog out of the pound and rescues his dog for him. How amazing. Oh, he got a phone call. There you go. She brings him his dog. He's in the hospital. That's amazing. Why isn't more of this stuff shared? Why isn't the Good News Network, where we found this from, why can't we turn that into some mainstream media?
I don't know. Let's get the advertisers.
Right. It wouldn't get you as fired up, would it?
They're literally just not endorsed by Raid Shadow Legends. So.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a special bond between people and their animals. Yeah. Chad, you got a dog.
Dude, Max? Yeah.
Dog is intense. Man, he comes after everything.
For like 10 minutes, he's in your face. And then he just lays down and snuggles right next to you for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Max is great. He's a little fat and fluffy now. He's got the winter weight on. A few added pounds. It could be that, or it could be the fact that my 3-year-old, when she pours him food, because she loves getting him food, fills the bowl up to the rim. Like, all right now. I think he's well fed beyond the first half scoop that you gave him. You didn't need to give him 2.5 more. He's only a 20-pound dog.
Yeah, so I'm married into having an animal. I'd never had an animal. And I have a cat. Yeah, I have a cat.
Satan incarnate.
The superior animal? Excuse you?
Cats? Cats are superior to dogs?
Yeah.
Satan incarnate.
For me personally, in my opinion, cats are superior to dogs. I understand people have their preferences. People like dogs, people like cats. It's cool. You like what you like. I'm a cat person.
All right, attack helicopter. Let me just kind of set the straight, like
you gonna learn something today, boy.
The first thing that's most notable is that there is a God. Okay, and if there is a God, then there's definitely some evil forces out there that want to destroy your life. We like to refer to that as Satan. And you need to understand that cats are the gateway for Satan to come into your world. The end.
That was the greatest rant we've had on this show.
That's all.
Short and concise.
So, but I did marry into it. I do have a cat, and it's one of those ragdoll cats. And
do you have a photo of this cat? Send me a photo of this cat.
I feel like you're gonna throw it around or something.
I do. Yeah, I do have a photo. I will send you the photo. But during the point of this is that the cat and I have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah,
really
that's how a relationship is with a cat. It's a love-hate relationship, 100%.
I seriously,
it should be all hate.
Sometimes consider murdering the cat. Typically, when it destroys things.
Yeah.
So it destroyed my upstairs. I had to replace the carpet. I had to tear.
That wasn't even specific. That was completely broad and general, while still being specific.
Everywhere. It was the worst. It peed everywhere. It was the worst. So can't go upstairs anymore because I spent $2,500 on carpet.
Can't go upstairs anymore.
It's a small house, my man. As I'm looking to move later this year, maybe it'll be a bigger home. Who knows? But right now, the cat likes to puke. It poops places. It's brutal, man. And that's when I get the most angry. Actually, when I get the most angry is when it destroys things. It got a hold of like a lot of my socks. The cat likes to eat my socks. I don't get it. I don't understand. It drives me nuts, but it eats my socks. So what did I get for Christmas? Socks. I got socks everywhere.
You guys make the cutest couple.
Oh my God. Now my wife is coming in here and here, just say it into the microphone.
I said you and Princess make the cutest couple.
Yeah. I do not make a cute couple. She knows that I hate the cat.
No, see, your wife knows you best. You know that. You can't fool me. You can't pull the curtain. You can't pull the curtain over. Yep. You can't pull the wool over my eyes, Dayton.
Pull up the picture of Max I just sent on Discord there, because I know Dayton says he hates Max too. But deep down,
I don't hate Max.
Oh, there you go.
I like punching Max in the face.
You're coming around to him. So this is when Max was little, but look at that adorable little thing.
Hey, the cute little dog.
Yeah, and now he's like 5 times bigger because he was 4 pounds there, so he's 20 pounds now. And he's just the same old fat, fluffy dog that he is right there.
That's adorable.
But he'll lick your face off, and he'll be just in your grill for like 10 minutes, and then he chills out. But Max is fantastic, and he's great with the kids. It's great. So as Dayton's finding that picture.
Yeah, you just keep rolling.
Yeah, I found this earlier. This is like breaking news in the Building Whalls show here. I saw this article, grabbed it from the Daily Wire, about how Washington, D.C. is now requiring photo ID to verify your vaccine card. So you can't just show proof of vaccination. You have to show photo ID in the District of Columbia, according to Mayor Muriel Bowser, which, by the way, her name is great, Bowser. You know someone's evil when they're the name of an evil character in one of the greatest video games to ever be created.
Yeah, you're not just evil. You're the evil for an entire franchise.
Yeah, you're the evil Bowser.
And by the way, I got it queued up. I did find a picture of Princess I sent to Attack Helicopter here. So.
All right, queued up really quick. Let's roll back. Oh, okay. So Bowser, like Satan, like cats.
Right, like this cat. And by the way, if you're Bowser, you're taking the princess, right? Princess Peach. Ironically, my dumb cat's name is Princess. I mean, how dumb is this? That this cat's name is Princess. Look at that thing. Oh my God.
So my mom has a cat that looks just like that. That is evil as well.
It's seriously, it knows not to hiss at me anymore. It's learned. Because I'm like, I come at it. I'm like,
you're like, I'm going to tell you.
That is enough.
Where you stand in the food chain in this house.
Absolutely. It's funny because
I will turn you into Chinese food.
As much as I tell it, my wife and my daughter are like, this is a dumb animal. It's actually a smart animal because it knows. It knows dang well when it's done something that it shouldn't do. And it runs and it hides and it'll listen. She listens to me. For real. I'll be like, I'll snap my fingers. And I'll be like, that's enough. And she stops.
Listens to you like the government in D.C. requires people to listen to them with their non-constitutional mandates.
Right. But then, then they come up and snuggle. That's the problem. That's the problem we have with this world right now. It's like you take a beating from your government and then you're like, suckle up to the teat. Like, give me some more.
There's $1,400. Man, is that's like a great euphemism? Is that the right word?
Euphemism
for the government? Yeah. They do. They're like, you know what? We're gonna crush you by your throat. You know what though? Here's $4,200 for your family of 3. Go ahead, take it. Enjoy COVID on us.
Send you some more money.
Yeah. Daddy will show you there's more where that came from. So the one thought that crosses my mind, Chris, when I see stuff about photo ID and requiring it to be vaccinated, is, do you remember when Fauci came on? It was probably last March or April, and the vaccines were really starting to come out, and he was talking about how there was a very low percentage rate in impoverished communities, pointing to the Black communities and how they weren't getting vaccinated. And this must be racist, right? They need to do more to combat racism to help Black people get vaccinated. But now requiring people to show a voter ID is also racist.
Everything's racist, dude.
But now you're going to require people to show a photo ID, the same one you don't want them to be required to show to vote because it's racist, to prove they have a vaccine. Yet, vaccines, according to them, are hitting impoverished communities and Black communities the hardest because they're not getting vaccinated. This is direct segregation of the population. What you're saying is only you elitists can go to restaurants and bars and wherever you want because you have your photo ID and you're vaccinated. But anyone from impoverished communities that you consider it's racist that they don't go there somehow, but they won't be able to go to restaurants. And then to top that off, how many times do we need to see one of these politicians in a restaurant, a bar, wherever, without their mask on?
Rules for thee, not for me. I mean, that was like 2021.
That's so 2021, Chris.
So 2021. Dude, the irony of all ironies, especially when it comes to the racial stuff, is it seems like the solution that the side that's saying that everybody's so racist and everything's so systemic is for them to have their own isolated silo to live in.
Yeah.
Their own, like, we're going to go do our own stuff over here. We have our own culture. And it's like, that is segregation. I mean, I'm not understanding like what you're trying to accomplish with that. You want your own schools now, or what? Like, what are you doing here? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's about as dumb as letting non-citizens vote. Oh, but that's just a New York thing, I guess.
Yeah, no big deal. That's New York City. The mayor of New York City. So is like Eric Adams the new mayor of New York City? I don't follow New York City anymore.
Yeah, he's the new mayor.
De Blasio is the biggest idiot on the planet, and you heard that here, not first. That you've already known that.
You should already kind of know.
But
that.
you have heard it here.
Now you've heard it here.
Now you've heard it here. We're confirming the breaking news story that de Blasio was the biggest idiot on the planet. And now Mayor Eric Adams is coming in, who seems promising. He seems like he's got a level head on his shoulders.
Does he?
And but then I see this, and you're like, hold on. What? How on earth are you going to run an election in the United States of America that is going to have impacts on the citizens of a town, a city, a county, a state, if they're not citizens? I don't understand this. And there's like 800,000. I've heard 800,000 to 1 million people that they're like, well, you're here. You should have a say. So if 800,000 Americans go over to Russia, do we get to vote?
Or Canada? Mexico?
Or Canada?
Right? Where's one country? Name me one country in the world where we can fly to in their next election and participate.
And just have, there's a million Americans here, but they're illegal to our country. But let's have them vote. I mean, why not? They're going to leave, or maybe not. I don't know.
You know what we should do? We should take a vacation over to the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
let's go to Israel.
Greece.
Yeah, Greece, Israel. You know what, Chris? While we're there, why don't we just vote? Why don't we vote for their next president or whatever?
I'd be like, you know what? Here, let me grab my phone here.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah. Hey, what'd you do? I'm gonna do an Instagram story right now. I'm voting in a Greece election. It's awesome. Look at that. I'm voting for somebody else.
You're on a first class flight, Delta, and they're bringing you the identification papers that you need to go through customs or whatever. And you're like, hey, by the way, can you slide a ballot in there for me? That way I'm, prepared when we land to vote.
Yeah, I'm going to do an absentee ballot. If that's cool, I'd like to vote in China.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean? Well, I can't. Why not? They do in New York City.
Yeah. Xi Jinping.
It's an outrage.
How do you spell his name? Yeah. Dude, this stuff, you can't. It's wild because it's like you can't make this stuff up. And then they do.
Seriously.
And then they just make it up. Is this like a George Orwell novel?
Like, dude, you can't even make this stuff up. And then there's like somebody over there who's like cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation that's like, yeah, actually, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go do that.
The shit's full, Clark.
Yeah. You hear that, honey? Shitter's full. Check our shitters.
Oh, man. It's wild. How many times have I said this? It's so easy to come up with information or stuff to talk about because this stuff happens every week.
I know.
Every week.
Dude, do you remember when we were bringing the TAC helicopter on and he was like, hey, yeah, I'll help you guys. I love doing this stuff. The only thing is I just don't want to do content. Right. And we were like, yeah, there's a lot of content all the time. Why? Because they just do dumb things, man. We could talk about it all day.
Don't stop till you get
TAC
enough.
helicopter. You remember that? You were like, yeah, I don't want to do content, man.
Well, I didn't want to be like writing the entire rundown for the show every single week, as well as producing and editing.
Sure.
Right.
But coming up with news stories, I'm like, yeah, there's something. There's always something to talk about. Always. And
yeah.
Always.
I remember me and Chad were like, yeah, if that's your hang up, well, then no worries, man. Just come on board.
So
let's get this rolling.
And yet here I am providing some content.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Providing great content.
Doing
that
fantastic.
We can just laugh about.
Yeah, it's all fun. It's all fun.
And now we got Chris's Corner. Let's get into it.
I need a sponsor. Who's my sponsor?
I thought yours was Raid Shadow Legends because Chad's supposed to be the beer.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm drinking a Yingling. I don't have anything special, but this stuff's so good. Chocolate beer. I love chocolate and I love beer. Duh.
Dude, there it is. Well, Brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. They don't pay us yet, but they're going to.
Yeah, these are non-affiliated, non-official, not even real sponsors of ours.
You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna pull up a real random company. Let me just pull up a company here.
When you say random, is this like a RNG type of thing? You just spinning the wheel of fortune, seeing what name comes up?
Yep. This week is going to be brought to you by Roblox, publicly traded RBLX Roblox. If you've got a youngling in the house, it is at $89 a share, $89.04.
Nice. Well, so as we get into Chris's corner here, I'm excited. I like this part. All right, my first question to you. In the gauntlet. So it's funny because you had some other things we were going to cover here on the show. I started just coming up with questions. And it's funny how they're all related to things that you put on the show in notes. What do you think is the top pitfall of this administration?
Gosh, you know what? It's interesting because if I go and look, I could debate the border crisis, the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the economy and the inflation, COVID-19, or the fact that they just don't understand January 6th. And if you want my honest answer, Chad, honestly, I really, really, really feel like the top pitfall for this administration is the fact that they sold the country a bill of goods that they were going to be truthful and transparent, and they're just not. They're just more of the same politician. I mean, what did you expect? You got a guy who's been in the Senate for 40 years or whatever he's been in. And I mean, he's the living embodiment of everything that's wrong with this country. You're going to get Biden and Bear Shells Biden. It is what it is. But mostly that they just, the top pitfall is the fact that they cannot communicate with the country. They cannot. And honestly, I mean, that's the part with COVID, right? Can we all agree that this should not have been an issue by this point if the messaging and the marketing for the vaccines were good? Just saying.
Yeah. So if that's the case, why do you think people take what the government says at face value? Like some people listen and believe the government wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. It's the new religion. You got Buddhism, you got Taoism, you got Christianity, you got Protestant, and now you have wokeism, and it's a religion, and it's founded.
That was good.
Their basis point is the government. The only problem is all those other religions have some commonality to them where they teach grace and they teach, enlightenment, and they want you to become in your inner self and become a better person. And they extend grace through the shortcomings of people. But in wokeism, there is none of that. There's only guilt and condemnation. If you don't conform to every last thing that they say, how things should be, then you are an enemy of the state. And if you're an enemy of the state, you're not part of their religion, you're not part of wokeism, you're the problem.
So with this wokeism, you have male swimmers and athletes. I'm going to call them males because that's what they are.
Biological.
Competing and dominating females. So does this wokeism, does this go away? Or does this shape and evolve this progressive political movement?
Interestingly enough, wokeism is going to eat itself. It contradicts itself constantly and more than any other. I mean, look, you and I have been down some paths. We've been, in different circles and things like that. And we know that there's organizations, you take our days in Amway and there's always contradictory points, right? That's just almost the nature of human beings. Like one person says one thing, the other says the next. You got guys like, Dave Ramsey preaching, one thing like, hey, don't spend all your money, save, pay off your debt. But then, there's no good debt. You can't ever have good debt. Don't buy a car. So don't buy a car. Don't go to a job. Don't pay for transportation. I mean, it's maddening. Like you have to have these tools to like survive. And so they contradict themselves. Do I think that what's going to happen there is, yeah, eventually, because, they're for women's rights, which all of us really are. I mean, I can't say throughout the history of time that males have been the most open to having females in different leadership roles or open to that dialogue. But I think more so now today than ever before. I'm very comfortable. There's lots of females that I admire and think are amazing. Candace Owens comes to mind. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but
Hillary Clinton, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the Clintons. Don't kill me. Breaking news, Chris Dayton went missing the other day. But I think it eats itself, and that's the problem when the situation with the athletes, overtakes the rights of women to compete and to feel important and to, just it's going to destroy itself, and they're going to have to choose, and the pendulum's going to swing back to hopefully rationalism. But there's that.
So, what do you think we do about social media censorship? And
that's simple.
People like Robert Malone, who's banned from Twitter now, even though he's the authority on mRNA vaccine.
Yeah. What you're seeing right now is you're seeing the emergence of other alternative opportunities. Look, the reality is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they all have a head start. LinkedIn, they're really far down the path. They're some of the founders of, social media. They have a ton of, people engaging on their platform. But what's going to happen is you've got these other ones that are coming out. You have Parler, that was pretty good. You've got Getter, which is up and coming. Trump has got one that he's making because I think he realized pretty quickly, take Trump as a great example. He's a business guy and he understood how to reach the people independent of the media, of the traditional media, NBC, Fox, CBS, ABC. He circumvented them and went straight to Twitter and communicated directly with the human, like the citizens of the country, right? Because he could tweet and people could follow the president and they could see what he was saying. So the problem is these companies now don't have any competition and they're being the arbiters of truth. And that's just not going to work in America. And so as these other platforms come out and Trump, kind of establishes his new one, I think it's called, isn't it called Truth? What's Trump's platform?
I don't know.
It's coming out soon.
I'll let you know in just a second here.
Yeah,
but
it's Trump's Truth Social.
Yeah. Truth Social.
Oh no, Getter is also by Trump as well, by the way.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. So, and I have an account on Getter. Is it as robust as my Facebook account? No, it's not. Am I transitioning? Yeah, I am. And as I build up, those communities that get built up, then it will help balance out. And so it'll eliminate itself, the censorship. Because we live in a capitalistic society still, thankfully.
Thank God. So, with some of these things we're talking about is 2022 with the midterms coming up. Do you think this is sort of a turning point for the GOP and the country and some of what we're seeing now where we can flip part of the houses of government back to more conservative?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think everybody's expecting the red wave, like because they look at the absolute total disaster that's going on right now, and they think one more year of this, how could it be terrible? But I'll tell you what, like here in Michigan, Governor Whitmer, we have the highest COVID cases we've ever had.
Big Gretch.
Big Gretch, who was one of the lockdown proponents and did like the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And then, oh yeah, here we are. Did all the lockdowns, the mandates, was very public about it. You know where she has not been doing in the last 6 months? None of it. None of it. If she was going to reinforce mandates and do things, it would be right now. She's not doing it. She's not getting involved. You want to know why? She got an election in November. That's why.
How about that? Isn't that funny how that works?
So there's going to be a massive push over the next couple months for all these Dems to be like, oh yeah, well, we're trying to work with the Republicans. They're just not seeing eye to eye. We did everything in good faith. We did this. And it's like, no, it'll be up to the Republicans to actually convey that message to the American public where, hey, did we actually get anything done? Or how bad is your life right now? And do you want to deal with an open border? Do you want to deal with COVID running wild and just the mismessaging there? Do you want to deal with, the unaccountability of the leaders that just don't seem to think? I mean, for God's sakes, dude, Nancy Pelosi just got busted for insider trading, basically. And even a Democrat in her own party was like, yeah, that's not right. Because people are waking up to that. And so I just think, like, yeah, there probably needs to be a clean sweep. And a bunch of them are like, yeah, we're not going to run again. We're not going to run again. We're not running. There's over 20 people on the Democrat side who are like, yeah, we're out. We're not even going to run. And so those are probably going to be picked up seats by, Republicans, the challengers, and all that stuff. And so you could see a pretty strong majority. That's the thing that needs to happen is the country basically needs to decide which way we want to go and then put real leaders in to take us there and communicate what we're doing.
So. Like a Joe Manchin, someone who can cut through the crap at times. So my last question to you here, something you mentioned earlier with the big A. Let's just let's turn the corner. Have a little different question here. What do you think about MLMs? Are MLMs good?
No, run.
Why is that?
I don't know, dude.
Tell me more.
I honestly feel like they're not very good in general for business. Are they legitimate business? I mean, we could argue that in our society. Currently, the way things are, yes, they are. If you run it like a business, then it's a real business. But for the most part, they're not a good idea. And mostly because of messaging. Again, it all comes down to communication, Chad. If you give a clear message, take our time in Amway. Let's just back up and talk about the time in Amway. If instead of someone standing up in front of the room being like, hey, all you got to do is find 6 people and you're going to be, loaded for the rest of your life. What if they told you like, hey, you have to find 6 people you can develop, a recurring $20,000 a month in business with, and you treat it more like a partnership, and it's going to take time, and it might take you many, many years to find those people, to develop those working relationships, and to move enough product. I think that's a different message, and I think you'd probably get better people.
Yeah. I mean, what if they were straightforward? They said, on this path to finding your 6, got to find your 6. That you're probably going to develop pretty strong relationships with 50 to 100 people. And a majority of those people are going to let you down in one way or the other because they don't want to do this business. And then, but at some point, you're going to find the 6 people that you can develop a strong partnership with.
Right.
See, and like you said with the messaging, one of the things that gets me as I'm jumping into Chris's corner here is that how many people do you know that when you were in Amway Now someone's no longer in Amway, and you're like, oh, I hate that person now. They're stupid. I can't believe they're so dumb. How do they not see what's right in front of their face? You know what? Maybe because they're a doctor. Maybe their calling isn't to be an Amway. Maybe their calling is to go save lives on the operation table, right? Maybe because they're supposed to go open a different business of their own and have success in it. Maybe because they're supposed to go be in the military, right? And they have a destiny and a purpose because there's going to be a time where they're in the Middle East and they cover their buddy's back so that their buddy doesn't die, right? Maybe there's a different purpose for everyone else in this life, and it's not Amway. And you have to be okay with that, right? But when the messaging's wrong, it's very easy to turn that around, and you're like, why would you say that? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, the original rules for thee and not for me came from Amway.
From you saying that?
I mean, like, literally, that was like, they literally had situations that I'm privy to that, I mean, people, you know, like, do not mess with the downline spouse or whatever.
Oh, geez.
Upline's doing that, you know, like, dude, okay, so you're an emerald and you're like banging your downline. Oh, okay, you're a real hero. Oh, you're a diamond sleeping with
you're a real hero.
Downline ruby. But you're going to get up and tell everybody about God and how you love your wife and her 4 kids that you've had with her.
Right, you know? How you love spending time with her, and
how she's a Psalms 31 woman or whatever.
What she might be.
She might be,
but
especially if she has to put up with your bullshit. So,
that's a good one.
That was we're gonna get some feedback on that one. I guarantee you, we're getting some letters.
So let's wrap it up with this. This is kind of a developing story here. There's nothing confirmed yet, but your boy Zucks over at Facebook, the company now known as Meta, has put down some money for a very large lease. In the city of Austin, Texas. So it appears Meta is trying to get out of the high taxes of California and move to a very tax-friendly state. Imagine that.
I mean, that's the culmination of rules for thee, not for me. I'm going to wreck this state, and then I'm going to leave.
And then I'm going to go wreck another state.
How are you not a virus? I mean, you destroyed where you're at, and then you spread somewhere else. You destroy that. I mean, Meta is the new pandemic.
Have you seen the commercials that they had too?
Oh yeah, the ones are like talking
with
about
like the animals. No, the ones with the animals, and they're kind of, dude, they're creepy. It's like you got to be smoking something good like that Karen in the grocery store to even understand what's going on in this commercial. Because I felt like I was in a 1970s psychedelic commercial. Yeah, what the heck is that?
The ones that I loved were the ones from Facebook where they were interviewing the compliance people, and they're like, "Yeah, our job's so hard. It's, you know, we're trying to do our best. It's not that easy."
I never saw that.
Oh, dude, and I was just like, "Come on."
Facebook compliance and customer service is the worst. You try to get through. So I have a friend who got his Instagram account hacked, and he was sending them messages, like video messages. This is me. The account that got hacked, it needs to be shut down. This is me. Shut down the other account, please. And like, they're like, oh yeah, we're looking into it. But you can never talk to anyone. You can never live chat anyone. You have to submit a message.
Yeah, I submitted a thing like literally. Some hackers took and made a separate account. It's like Christopher.Dayton3 Instagram or something like that. It's not mine. I didn't make that. And they like stole pictures off of me. And there's like a picture of Kira Lee on there.
That sounds creepy.
Wow. And so I reported to Facebook or in Instagram, and they're like, we didn't find anything wrong with that. I'm like, bro, that's not me. My handle is at Dayton95.
Right. This is my same face for
the
me
exact
and my
same
daughter.
thing.
They're using the same pictures, and I'm telling you, I did not create that.
Yeah, they literally pulled it from this other account that has a lot more content on here. They're like, we didn't meet, or there were no violations of our community standards. Well, your community standards are idiotic.
Dude, that job's tough though. Imagine being a compliance officer.
Tough. Hey,
imagine.
Let's move to Austin.
Hey, yeah. Imagine accidentally censoring someone. What a shame.
It's like they go out and think they're a bunch of realtors and day drink during the day, and they come back and be like, "Oh, we're actually gonna." You know what? I hate the president. I'm gonna watch this, Bill. Gone. Yeah, coworker Bill. Watch this. I'm gonna silence the president.
I'm offended that you would use a name such as Bill.
Why?
I find that highly offensive.
Was I supposed to use Daquan?
I mean, whatever works, right?
I know. Fellas.
All right, dude.
All right, man.
That was a great show. I appreciate you. I just pre-ordered my Truth Social app here. It looks like it's supposed to launch February 21st. Let's get on the Truth Social.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Go to the App Store, Apple iTunes App Store. You can pre-order the app now, or you can go to their website, truthsocial.com, and join the waiting list.
And while you're doing that, make sure you go to our YouTube page here and click like, subscribe. And that way you can get up to date on all the new videos and all the new stuff that we put out every single week. It's so awesome. And we owe that all to the amazing Attack Helicopter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Financial Jesus. Does a great job cutting it up, editing it up, bleeping out your blurping bleeps.
Yeah, all the swear words. That's good. Financial Jesus has got to
look at the content we got going there on the page. Dude, gosh, that looks good.
For real. Commander Whalls, until next week, go in grace, my man.
Under his eye.
Blessed day.